Hi everybody, my name is Ashley Lambert, and today I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of buying a foreclosed property. Now these rules, these pros and cons are the same whether you're an investor or if you're buying the home as your primary residence. So let's get started. Let's start with the pros first. Now there's three pros that I typically think of when I think of a foreclosed property. The one is price. Of course you want to save money, that's why you're going for a foreclosed property. So typically you save 10 to 15% off on a house when it is foreclosed. So that's a great thing. A lot can happen in that 10-15%. It can take you from being qualified or unqualified to enter into a specific neighborhood. For example, let's say a house is $300,000 and you're not approved for $300,000, but you are approved for $270,000. If you find a foreclosed property in that same neighborhood, possibly the same floor plan or the same builder, the same type of home, for $270,000 that you're approved for, you've entered into your desired neighborhood at a cheaper price. And then once you fix up that house, you enter into my number 2 reason to buy a foreclosure, which is equity. Now once you fix up this foreclosed property, you're going to have some equity. You're going to have some cushion in the value of that home. So you bought that $270,000 home, that is really worth $300,000, which is a really good deal for buyers, especially first-time home buyers. When you already have maybe a high interest rate or you're working out your budget for the first time ever, having some equity cushion is a good thing. I can't emphasize that enough. So one is price, amazing, 10 to 15% off, around that, averaging out on the foreclosed property. And then your number 2 is the equity. The third thing is you're taking the emotion out of the seller side of the transaction. So as an agent, I'm already dealing usually with the buyers. They're like, do I like this house? Do I like this house more? Things like that. But once they get to making an offer, their emotions are already tied into buying that property. They're mentally already living there. And unfortunately, the seller is living there. So they're mentally dealing with giving up their home and hoping they get enough for the home. So when you take out the seller emotions and their ego, you're left with the buyers and the bank. The bank doesn't care. They care about their bottom line. So it's a really good thing for the buyer because it's top of the table negotiations. It's, do you want the house for this price? Can you afford it? It is pretty clear cut and dry with the bank. They, again, only usually want their bottom line. They want a profit, of course, but they do want to get rid of the house. So my 3 pros of buying a foreclosed property is price, equity, and of course, the non-emotional seller side. Now let's talk about the cons of buying a foreclosed property. And when I tell you about these cons, I don't want to freak you out. I don't want to scare you away from an awesome opportunity of buying a foreclosed property, but I do want to make you aware of things that could possibly happen. The very first thing is the bank does not make any guarantees or warranties about the condition of the property. They can't say that the roof is this old, they can't say the floors were replaced, they can't say anything about the property. And so this makes inspections very important for the buyer. Whether you're buying the property for yourself or as an investment property, inspections are an absolute positive must. And I even add more on top of it. I like to do inspections. I also like to have a general contractor available to possibly give me a quote on how much it would be to replace the plumbing or to upgrade the electrical to code. So there's no warranties or guarantees. Inspections will help you feel more at ease in buying a foreclosed property. The second thing of buying a foreclosed property is not knowing if there are any surprises. So this sort of ties into the first one, but there's always a surprise, it seems, with older foreclosed properties. There could be asbestos, there could be lead-based paint, there could be an issue that you wouldn't even know unless you literally took the walls down. For instance, missing insulation. You may not know there's no insulation in that house. So that's a big deal, especially in the winters here in North Carolina. So you definitely want to think about that. You want that to live in the back of your mind. The third thing is what I call the vacancy issue. So as the foreclosed property is going through the foreclosed process, months or even maybe a year or 2 can pass. So that's months and maybe a couple of years of the house sitting there vacant. So a small drip, a small leak, anything can grow into a catastrophe and could be a really huge issue. So there could be deteriorating value or condition of the home. Another thing is squatters. If you have a nice house sitting there vacant for a long time, people might go in there and make that home their home, and it may not be prepared for you to be there. So you really want to think about squatters and the stuff that could happen with them being at the property, because there's no electricity and there's no plumbing. So let's just think about what could possibly happen there. So I hope this list didn't scare you away from buying foreclosures, because they really are a great deal. And if you decide that you want to look into foreclosures, I want you to think of me and give me a call at 980-319-3664 or visit my website www.myagentashleigh.com. Hope to hear from you soon, and have a great day. Bye.